Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this month's Pro Power Hour. My name is Megan Wood. I work in the advisor marketing team here at Intuit Australia, and I'm your host for today's session. It's great to have you joining us. Before we begin, though, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we meet today and to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Now, in today's Pro Power Hour, it's all about what's new. So we're going to have a look at some of the enhancements that have been made to the QuickBooks suite. So that will cover QuickBooks Online, including QuickBooks Payroll, powered by KeyPay. We'll also have a look at QuickBooks Online Accountant and QuickBooks Tax, powered by Lodgit. Now, we run these product update sessions every quarter, and they're a great way to get up to speed with what's new, to see how they work, and also to evaluate whether there's something you want to use in your practice. Now, it's likely everyone on the call today is aware of Intuit's flagship product, QuickBooks Online, given that it's used by over 5 million small businesses and over 300,000 accountants and bookkeepers globally. Importantly, too, QuickBooks Online includes exclusive functionality for accountants and bookkeepers so that you can power through your day very quickly. We then have a QuickBooks Online Accountant, or QBOA, which helps you manage your practice as well as your clients. So using QBOA, you've got the ability to manage as well as access your clients, but you can also keep track of your workflow. You can also capture time and bill it, and even pay your team. On the compliance front, we have QuickBooks Tax, powered by Lodgit, and this is a powerful online tax and BAS preparation and lodgement tool. The unique thing about QuickBooks Tax, though, is the ability to import data from a variety of accounting solutions. So it makes it a really valuable tool to use with all of your clients. I'm going to be telling you how you can get access to QuickBooks Tax as part of the Pro Advisor program at the end of today's session. We're also going to look at a very special competition that we're running at the moment. So we'll talk about that as well. Okay. So before we get started, there's always a bit of housekeeping. So we have about 800 people joining us on today's event. So as a result, we've had to place everyone on mute, but we want you to get involved. So we will have a Q&A session at the end of today's session. So certainly feel welcome to add any questions you might have in the Slido prompt that you'll be able to see. We'll aim to answer as many of those questions as we can. Now, today's event is being recorded. We often get asked this one. So today's event is being recorded, and we'll be sending out a copy to everyone who registered to attend today's event. So certainly keep an eye out for an email in your inbox. The recording provides a great example, a great way to review any of the content that you see today, but also to share it with other team members. Okay, if you're having technical difficulties, and I always struggle with this particular call out because if you can't see me or you can't hear me, you're not going to see me or hear me. But anyway, if you're not able to see or hear the presentation, we suggest restarting your device, refreshing your browser, or even trying a different device. Again, you will receive a recording of this event, so whilst it's not as good as the live thing, you're not going to miss out on any content. You can also navigate to the troubleshooting guide located at the bottom of your screen, and that contains a link to an alternate video browser if you need it. Now, when it gets to demo time, to see the screen better, we recommend that you click on the maximize button in the window so that it will make the screen larger. But it's important to note that it sometimes takes a few moments for the screen to render, so it could be a little blurry initially, but then it'll clear up. So that is the housekeeping out of the way. So let's get into today's session. Okay, so today you're going to be hearing from Zach Yang. Now, Zach works in our service delivery team, so he's actively helping firms implement the QuickBooks suite into their practices. He's going to be taking you through what's new in QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Payroll. He's then going to hand it back to me, and I'm going to update you on a number of things that are new in QuickBooks Online Accountant and QuickBooks Tax. So this is our agenda for the day. When we get to Q&A, we'll welcome Sapan from our customer success team. He's going to join us to answer some questions. So be sure to get those questions in for us. So with that, let's jump in and I'll hand it over to Zach, who's going to update you on QuickBooks Online as well as QuickBooks Payroll. So over to you, Zach.
Thank you, Megan. Really happy to be here. Now, first off, let's take a look at our new business view, which is available to all of our new customers now, and we'll be rolling out to existing ones very soon. Let's take a look. Now, let's have a look at our new business view on the left-hand panel. I would like to start by giving a side-by-side comparison of the two. So on our left-hand side, that's the new business view, and on our right, that's our traditional classic navigation panel. For the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to focus on the business view. Obviously, user will have the option to switch in between, and this is also a FYI in case you are helping your clients over the phone without looking at their screen. Just know that they might be looking at a different panel than you. So for example, if they say they are under the getting paid or paid section, they can be in either the customer section or they can be the supplier section, which is the sales and expense section in the classic view. About this new business view, it's fully customizable, so you can click on the pencil icon and decide what item that you want to show or not want to show, as well as adding items onto the bookmark. So for example, I use the payroll function a lot. I can click on there and then set add to bookmark. It doesn't really work at the moment. I think it's because it's already bookmarked. Let's have a look. Oh, about this. Okay, so it looks like only second tier menus can be bookmarked, which makes sense because all you need to do is click on payroll. You don't have to click down to it. Yeah, so that's a quick view on our business view. Thank you. Yeah, so that's some pro tips for you right there. Only second tier menus gets to be bookmarked. Okay, up next is our all sales tab, which was made available in beta in June, but has now reached general availability, making it live to all QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Online Accountant users. Let's take a look.
So to move, we go into and we switch into beta experience. Activate beta. And here we have the beta version. What we've got interesting here is when you go into the small cogwheel icon, we have the option to have a look at the total before GST and GST including, which is a delighter for our clients. We also have option to bulk delete invoices which have been asked by our customers. So there's an option to delete. Also, there's an option to filter all transactions based on invoices, codes, etc. And this is one of the best options that we have, where it opens up, so you're no more moving into different tabs to bring in the details or pop-up details. Another delighter is you can find payment here, which opens the payment. It is an awesome experience for our customers, which is now launched in production.
Up next is the Performance Center, which will give us a visual view on how the business is performing. Let's take a look. The quickest way to get to the Performance Center is by clicking on the report section on the left and then click on Performance Center. In here, you will be able to see a few charts that has already been created by default. You can move them around, you can edit them or export them to PDF, and of course you can delete them. You can also add notes to them as well, and obviously you can also create your own. Now let's create an expense one, and we'd like to compare with the last year's figure and see if there's any difference. Now, looks like there is. Let's add it to the dashboard. Yep. And again, you can delete them if you want. And you can also resize or enlarge them. That's it for the Performance Center subject.
Up next, the MailChimp integration with QBO is now in beta. Let's take a look.
The MailChimp integration has finally come to QuickBooks Online Australia, although it's only a beta, but you can still find them in our App Store, just like any other third-party apps. A quick search in the Find Apps tab on the left-hand side, you'll be able to see MailChimp on the top of the list. Click on Learn More. You'll be able to select the QuickBooks Online Accountant firm that you want to connect them with. Tick the box for Install for your firm, and then click Next. You'll be redirected to MailChimp's account page. From here, you can either create a new account, or if you have an existing account with MailChimp already, simply click on Login. From here, we do need to let MailChimp know that the person who's connecting this app has permission to contact customer for marketing communications. And then voila, MailChimp is connected with QuickBooks. What you can do with this integration is you can import your customer list or client list into MailChimp, and then you can see how much they have spent in recent time. And based on that, you can create segments to specifically target some campaigns. Like if ATO had a certain update on certain industries like hospitality, retail, you can come to MailChimp and create customized campaign targeted to those customers. So that's been it for the MailChimp integration with QuickBooks Online.
That's awesome. Coming up next is one of my favorite updates this time, the all-new Getting Started Hub. Megan's going to walk us through. Let's take a look.
To access the new Getting Started Hub, head to Learn Support and then over to the Getting Started Hub. And you can see here we've got a whole range of materials that your clients can access. So from getting started to different areas to managing their business. One that I wanted to show you was in relation to connecting a bank account. So we provide a step-by-step sort of guide here, but if you scroll down, your clients will actually be able to select the specific bank and account they want to connect. So by selecting here, we've got ANZ, we're going to select a personal account. And then if I scroll down, I have the step-by-step instructions for that particular bank and account type. So definitely worth sending your clients along to have a look.
Awesome. Now let's change the topic a little bit and go through over to QuickBooks Payroll. The payroll data now is integrated with our cash flow planner. Let's take a look.
The cash flow planner in QuickBooks Online has also been received a small update in the recent months. PAYG reporting and GST data is now included in the money out section. A quick view on the report would also give you a better understanding on the actual cash flow. Don't forget to check out our cash flow playbook, where it gives you a lot of tips and tricks on how to run a business with a smarter decisions on cash flow management. That's it.
Up next, our employee onboarding experience has also received an update to provide an easy and simple experience to users when setting up their employees for payroll. Let's have a look.
The payroll setup workflow has also been received a small update to make the employee setup a bit more easier.
for your clients. So after you set up the client's business in the employee tab by selecting the employee plan, the payroll plan, and setting up their business details like ABN address, so on and so forth, you would have the option to directly add the employee without going back to the dashboard. The self-service option is still there, where the employees can use the WorkZone app to review their pay slips or manage their personal details like banking and super, all those. The primary pay category and the leave allowance template has also been simplified, where if you select full-time as the employment tab, the corresponding pay and leave category would also be automatically selected for you. If you change to casual, the change will reflect in the pay and leave category as well. Last but not least is we now have a drop down for the scenario where the employee is not quoting a tax file number. All we need to do is select the reason why they're not quoting, and then you'll be able to complete the employee setup. So that should make the workflow a bit simpler and easier to set up employees for your clients. Over to you, Megan.
Beautiful. Okay, well, thank you for that, Zach. Lots of updates there to take on, and hopefully everyone has scribbled down some that they want to explore and check out a little bit more. Certainly, the business view is one that Zach mentions rolling out from October through to December. So more and more of your clients are going to be seeing that business view, and I expect a few of them, they're all going to get communicated to, but I guess a few of them might not receive or read the email that the view is changing. So you might get a couple of calls from your clients asking, why has it changed? Something's happened overnight in my QuickBooks file. So you might need to be prepared to have that conversation about why it's changed, and then obviously how you can move to accountant's view, so you're both looking at the same view at the same time when you're supporting your customers. Okay, so now let's have a look at some of the changes that we've made to the tools that support your practice. So in this section, we're going to have a look at some exclusive accountant and bookkeeper functionality that we've added to help with your accounts and tax workflows. So let's first have a look at Books Review. Okay, so Books Review aims to support your BAS preparation and lodgement process. And we've done a lot of work in this area to create a framework that supports your processes and to get you through your BAS workload as effectively as possible. Now, we continue to invest in this particular area as we can see how much it can streamline your processes and to save you time. Best of all, it's customizable. So you can set this up to mimic your own processes so everyone is on the same page and following the same steps. So in the demo today, we're going to check out some new beta functionality to update GST allocations in the batch GST area. We'll look at how to change lots of transactions in one go using the bulk reclassify function. We'll look at how you can ask your client a query at transaction level. And we will check out the wrap-up tab, which is a new tab we've added to the Books Review area. And last but definitely not least, we're going to have a look at how the BAS data can now automatically be transferred into QuickBooks Tax to help you get those BAS forms approved and lodged. So let's roll the tape and see what's new in Books Review.
So here we are in my QuickBooks Online client, Carefree Candy. I'm going to take you into the Books Review area. So it's a relatively new area, and it aims to support you with your BAS preparation and lodgement process. So in this area, you can select the relevant month or quarter that you're working with from a little pick list here. And then from there, you'll see that there's 4 areas to work through. So we've got the transaction review, then we've got the account reconciliation area, the final review, and then the wrap-up stage. So the first thing that we need to do is make sure that all of the transactions for this quarter or this period are in the books, and we can see there's a couple of transactions there that need to be accounted for. So by selecting the Review Now hyperlink, that's going to take us directly into the banking area within QuickBooks Online. So we can see that there's a couple of transactions here that come in that are uncategorised. So we're going to select both of those, and then I'm going to show you just a couple of areas sort of around bulk reclassifying transactions. So by selecting the Update button, this enables you to bulk reclassify certain components of the transactions. So we've got the transaction type, the payee, the category tags, as well as the GST category. So in this case, I'm going to reclassify this to rent. And I'm just going to apply this one because I want to show you a little bit more with these transactions. So we can see that they're changed. So that's fantastic. The next one I want to show you is a new feature that's in beta at the moment. And this is about reclassifying your GST classifications. So if we click on that button, again, you can see it's in beta. And the intent here is that you'll be able to bulk reclassify transactions by account type. So by selecting the relevant transactions, you can then regroup them to whatever the relevant GST classification needs to be. Again, it's a beta process, so certainly give us your feedback whether you like it, want some changes, and we can go from there. Okay, so I'm going to accept these couple of transactions, and as you can see, it is prompting us to save a bank rule. Again, great way to automatically code those recurring transactions in your client's books. So we can see that we're all caught up now, and so we'll go back into the books review, and we can see that our banking transactions have all been accounted for, so we can now mark this component as done. So you can see you've got 3 options there to do waiting done. In this case, we're going to mark this one is complete, so it is done. The next area I wanted to take you through is the open issues, and I reckon this is a great feature. This is where the QuickBooks software surfaces any anomaly transactions for you. So we've got uncategorised transactions, transactions without payees, transactions without GST, undeposited funds, and unapplied payments. And again, the software surfaces it for you so that you can review any of those transactions. If there's nothing to do, you can simply mark that as done. Okay, so we've got here a few transactions without payees, and I just want to show you a couple of examples here. So the first is fundamentally bulk reclassifying again. So we've got the ability to mark a number of transactions. In this case, I'm going to select these 2 shipping ones, and I'm going to add a payee to them. So from our picked list of payees, we are able to select the relevant payee for these transactions. And that's applied across all of the transactions that it relates to, the ones that you've selected. And we'll quickly do the same for our little rent transactions that have popped up. And they are attended to. Now, we've also got another transaction here. It's an expense for office expenses, but we don't actually know what it's really for. So I'm going to ask the client for more information. So by selecting Ask Client, you can see this dialog box pops out for us. We can add a due date, hoping that our client might get this back to us by the due date. And then in the details area, you can type in here whatever it is that you need to know. So I'm just saying we need to know a little bit more about these transactions. Thank you very much. And then if we scroll down here, this is where you can share it with your client in their QBO file, but also via email. So we will share that now with the client. And then you can see here that there's a notification that we're waiting on information, which is a great way of telling the team that you're waiting on some information for this bit. Should you ever need to look at any of the requests that are out for this particular client, you can do that at the top here. And again, great way for your team to see what you've already requested, what we're waiting on from the client. Okay, so I can then mark that particular component is waiting. And then for the rest, just for the sake of the demo, I'm just going to mark those as done. And that's great. So the next area I want to show you is this shortcuts area. Now the shortcuts area is designed to mimic your process. And again, you have complete control over what is down here. So this is where you can outline what reports you want your team to be looking at, what you need them to be doing next. So for example, we can see we've got update timesheet as the last option, but any of these options you can delete, edit, add, so that it suits your process and so that your team are all following the exact same process, doing the same thing consistently. And so once those reports or areas are completed, we can mark those as done. Great. So that's the first component done, the transaction review. Now we go into account reconciliation. And this is fundamentally where you reconcile all of the accounts that are relevant for reconciling for this particular client job. So we can see for the bank account, we've got one transaction here that hasn't been accounted for. So I'm just going to quickly reconcile that with my bank balance and the end date being the end of September. And we can see that's been accounted for now. We're all reconciled. We can finish that. So once the reconciliation is complete, and again, you can do that for all of the relevant accounts that you want to reconcile, we can mark this area as done as well. So then we go into the final review area, and this all has to do with accounts payable and accounts receivable. So again, for the sake of the demo, I'm going to mark those as completed so that we can move on to the wrap-up area. Now, this is a relatively new area as well. So this is where you're able to prepare the reports, send out the reports, lodge the return and close the books for the month or quarter. So in terms of preparing the reports, we just select those. And we've got some standard BAS work papers that you can access here. And the work papers, as you'll see, they're made up of a number of reports. But they're still very flexible for you to tailor to suit what you want to store internally or to send out to your clients. So to show you a little bit of the flexibility here, we can change the title, for example, and on the fly you'll see that immediately changes. So it's this, what you see is what you get editing. But if I drop you into the reports area here, this is a listing of the reports that you want to send out. Now you can delete or add new reports to this group. So in this example, we might say I don't need to send that particular report out. You can also move the reports around to suit the format or the flow that you would like to save the reports in. Now, once you're happy with those reports, you've got a few options here. So you can save them as a bundle on the system. You can save them as a Word document, a PDF, or send them out to your client. So in this case, I'm going to select to save them, and I'm going to give this report a name. So this is my Q1 BAS work papers, and I'm going to save those, which will save them as a management report in the system for anyone to access. So we've got a nice history of the BAS work papers for the client. So I can mark that I've prepared the reports. Now, in terms of sending out the report package, again, it's completely up to you if you want to send these work papers out to your client. You may want to send them to a team member. You can see the options you've got here to send them out if required, if that's something you want to do. So back in Books Review, we're going to mark that as complete. And then with all the work done, we're now in a position where we can actually lodge the tax return, the BAS statement. So by clicking on it, it's going to take you into the Gst Center. And we can see there's our BAS ready to go. So we can prepare our BAS. And I'll jump you through that. And what I wanted to show you is new functionality that's been enabled to export the BAS information into a form, into Lodge It, so you can then get it approved by your client and lodged. So there is integration directly from the Gst Center into Lodge It to support you with your BAS lodgement process. And I'm going to show you how you can get access to Lodge It later in the session. So we can now mark that our BAS has been lodged, and if you like, there's an additional option here where you've got the ability to close the books. And fundamentally, all that does is it makes sure that no one adds any transactions into the period that we've closed. So we can add here the closing date, so the 30th of September 2022, and then you've got the option to say that you'll allow changes after issuing a warning or showing a warning, or you'll allow changes after the warning is shown and the customer has to enter a password. So again, completely up to you to determine whether you want to close the books or not, but that's where you do it. And so we can now mark the close the book section as done. Now, if I take you back into the QBOA dashboard, and if we click on the bookkeeping tab here, this gives you a quick glance or a snapshot of where the books are at. So we can see there's something there that hasn't been completed. And so if we go back into the books review area, and we scroll down to where we're waiting on something, we can see that our client has actually come back to us and given us a bit of information about that transaction we queried. So we can now apply a payee to this particular transaction. So this will go to Officeworks. We can then apply that, and then we can mark that particular section is done. And if we go back into the dashboard, the practices dashboard, you'll see that we've now got 3 green lights. So we are complete and ready to go. That's books review.
Brilliant. So I hope you got a little bit out of that. That's, again, a relatively new area. We're continually adding onto the books review functionality. So if you haven't had a look, it's definitely worth going in there and having a try, but most importantly, customizing it to suit your processes. So definitely have a look. So just as books review helps with your BAS prep and lodgement, Prep for Taxes helps you with your accounts preparation and lodgement workflow. So this is another area that's getting a lot of attention. So in this bit, we're going to have a look at the new year-end tasks area. We'll have a look at the document storage feature. In the review and adjust area, we'll take a look at the new review and prepare buttons. So that aims to support your approval process. And we'll look at the new trial balance view. And lastly, we'll have a look at the grouping and statements area. So let's take a look at Prep for Taxes.
So to access the Prep for Taxes area at the QBOA dashboard, and you can see the Prep for Taxes column here, we just click on Review Data, and that's going to take us into the Prep for Taxes area for that particular client. You can also find this through Accountants Tools, by the way. So for Prep for Taxes, you get to nominate the tax year that you would like to work on from the pick list here, and also whether you're working on a cash or accrual basis. And then we've got these 4 areas that we're going to review to help us prepare this set of accounts. So with the year-end tasks, this is a listing of all of the tasks that you would like your team to do to complete a set of accounts and get it to a point where you can lodge the return. Now you can add any items to this particular group or listing. So I'm just going to add a simple one here. At the end of all of this, I need you to make sure you do your timesheet entry. So we just save that. And then with any of these particular items, you can move them around. And of course, you can elect to delete them or edit them. So this is just to mimic your processes, so make it work for you. When you've completed any of these tasks, you just mark them as done. Okay, so that's year-end tasks. The next area is documents. And this is fundamentally a storage area for the documents that you share with your clients. So you can create any sort of folder you may like and add documents to that. So we've got a general client one there. But you can also add documents to certain line items as well to help you substantiate any of those numbers. You've got the ability to download them, rename them, delete them, and annotate them as well. So a very flexible area in terms of your documents. Now, when it comes to review and adjust area, this is fabulous because it lets you see a lot of information on screen. So you can see this year's information versus last year's information and the actual percentage and dollar change for those items. So it makes it really easy to compare and review the accounts. You can add notes to any of the line items like we've got here, and the team can comment on those. And you can also attach documents to line items as well, like we saw on the prior screen. In addition to that, you've got the ability to make adjusting journals. So we can see here we've got some money sitting in a cash bank account. It really should be in the cash at bank ANZ account. So I'm just going to make an adjustment here. And by clicking on this, it opens the journal area that you're probably familiar with, nominates it as an adjusting journal. And from here, I can just make that particular adjustment or that edit. So we will pop in what we need to do here. So we're just going to tidy up the balance sheet. And I'm going to put that into the right account. So our ANZ cash at bank account. And we will save that particular journal. Now you'll see that nothing has actually changed. And that's because we now need to refresh the screen so the latest information from the balance sheet and the profit and loss can be brought in. So by selecting the refresh, the information is brought in, but you can see it is actually informing you that there's been a change. So you can actually review that change, or you can accept that change from that particular area. So we can now see that that's a little bit tidier and that money was where it needed to be. I also want to highlight you've got the ability to also mark who has prepared the accounts, and then in theory the manager can come through and review those. So that's a new bit of functionality to help you with your preparation process. In addition to this view, you've also got a trial balance view, which some prefer, because it sort of shows you that movement of what has occurred through the course of the year for each line item. So that's the trial balance view. Okay, the next area we'll pop into is the grouping and statements area. Now, this is fundamentally a way that you can develop reports that suit the way that you want to report to your clients. So to give you just an example, and it's a probably dodgy one, I'm not sure, but we're going to create a little group called Net Banking. And so here what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to say I want the cash at bank in this little group. So I'm going to bring that up, and I'm also going to bring in my ANZ loan. So this aims to give me an understanding of my net banking situation with ANZ. So we've modified that, and then if we run the report, which enables us to export it out to Excel, I can now open that in Excel. And what you'll see is we've got a cover page for this particular report. We've got the notes to the reader, which basically says it's not auditable, etc. We've got our balance sheet as you'd expect to see it, and our income statement. And then in this lead sheets schedule, you'll get to see the report as you've designed it. You can see here's my little grouping that I've set up here, and if I just highlight it for you, you'll be able to see it clearer. But again, it's a way of you being able to manipulate the reports to get them into a format that your clients would like to see. And then the last step of the process is actually exporting the information out to Lodgit to complete the return.
Hopefully you got a feel for what the Prep for Taxes area can do in terms of your accounts preparation work. So next up, I'm going to show you the Myb Export feature. Now this feature is designed for those firms that like to use QuickBooks Online with their clients, but they also like to produce their reports out of the Myb General Ledger system. So instead of rekeying the information from QuickBooks Online into their Myb Ledger, we have developed this export feature. So let's have a look at what it looks like.
When it comes to exporting information out of QuickBooks Online into a myb.mye file, you've got two options. The first is in the Prep for Taxes area and selecting Export to Myb here, or alternatively in the client's file, you can select the Settings area, go into Export Data, and then into the Taxes area here, where you can select the relevant year that you want to export, the cash or accrual basis, and then selecting Export to .mye.
So a nice little short one. So that's it for QuickBooks Online Accountant. Next up, we're going to have a look at some new functionality added to QuickBooks Tax, powered by Lodgit. So as I mentioned earlier, QuickBooks Tax is a powerful online tax and BAS preparation and lodgement tool. Using QuickBooks Tax, you can prepare any form or return type you need, dating back to 2011. What our clients tell us they love about QuickBooks Tax is the ability to import data from a variety of accounting solutions, as well as the unlimited electronic signatures. I'm guessing they also like the fact that they can get access to QuickBooks Tax as a benefit of the Pro Advisor program, which we will have a look at shortly. Okay, so in this particular update, I'm going to just cover off a few of the updates released in this quarter. So it's certainly not all of them, just a few quick ones, as well as show you how you can get up to date with the releases from QuickBooks Tax so you don't miss a thing. So let's roll the tape and check it out.
So to see what is new in Lodgit, we're going to click on the Export to Lodgit button. And this is actually taking all of the information from my client's QuickBooks Online file and putting it into the required form or return within Lodgit. So here we are in Lodgit, and you can see the financial information has been imported. If we pop into the profit and loss area for this particular company return, the information from QuickBooks Online has pre-filled, but this particular button enables you to see the prior year's value. So it gives you an additional reference point when you're completing a return for a client, which is a great little enhancement. The next area I'd like to take you into is in relation to reporting. So over and above the annual special purpose financial report, you can now select within the reports area to produce an SPFR for a quarter, a month, or a custom period. So we'll have a look at a quarter example. So this is going to be for the current quarter, and I'll create my SPFR. And we can see that displayed to the 30th of September 2022. If we have a look at the income statement, you can see this quarter compared to last quarter, and the same for the statement of financial position. We can see this quarter compared to last quarter. Okay, so the next area I'd like to show you relates to when you're first setting up a new return. So in this case, we're going into this individual tax return for Bronwyn. And at the bottom, you can see there is this ATO benchmark button that's been included. So based on the tax returns occupation, by selecting this, it'll give you an indication of the types of activities or expenditure items, whatever it might be, relating to that particular occupation. So another way to see that you've captured everything you need to. Now, when it comes to keeping up to date with everything that is new in Lodgit, I would suggest you join their distribution list. So you can do that by email, Slack, or by a RSS feed. In addition to that, you can view any of the updates in this area. So you can see from September, we've got a range of client updates that have been included. So certainly get in here and have a look at what's new. We also have tax return updates that talk to improvements that have been made for preparing income tax returns, along with our SPFR updates. So even looking at what we've just looked at, they've added page numbers as well as the ability to put a draft watermark on an SPFR. So that's how you stay up to date with QuickBooks Tax, powered by Lodgit.
Okay, so following on from staying up to date with QuickBooks Tax or Lodgit updates, I thought we'd review how to stay up to date with the QuickBooks suite. So now we think it's really important that you have the latest information around the product so that you can make the most of any of the updates that we add. Only on the weekend at a conference, someone was saying to me how they wished QuickBooks Online was able to bulk reclassify transactions. So she was delighted when I showed her that, but I'm guessing she was also a bit devastated that she didn't know about that particular feature earlier. Now you can check out the latest product updates by going to the product updates page on the website. You can also use intuit.me/product updates. Or you can use the QR code on your screen as well. I'm amazed at how prior to COVID, we didn't really like QR codes much, but we tend to use them a lot now. Okay, so hand up if you'd like to win a trip to Las Vegas this December. QuickBooks Connect is an amazing 3-day event, and for the very first time, it's being dedicated just to accountants and bookkeepers. The event is full of educational sessions and inspiring keynote speakers such as Serena Williams this year, along with outliers and the Tipping Point author Malcolm Gladwell. We're offering a chance to win a trip for 2 to Las Vegas, 2 passes to QuickBooks Connect, as well as your accommodation. So to go in the running, all you need to do is lodge a form or a tax return with QuickBooks Tax powered by Lodgit, and tell us in 50 words what you love about QuickBooks Tax. Now, to find out more and to enter the competition, head to Intuit.me/Connect in Vegas and watch your inbox for more information. If you haven't entered yet, please jump on it, because the competition closes on the 31st of October. So we looked at a number of automation tools that are available within QuickBooks Online Accountant, and those that are new to the suite. QuickBooks Online Accountant is designed to help you run your practice as well as manage your clients. So you can track your jobs, allocate tasks to team members if you have team members, record where you're spending your time, send out invoices, pay your team if you have one, even manage your own books. So when you sign up for QuickBooks Online Accountant, and it's free to join, you automatically get access to the Pro Advisor program tools, training and benefits. And that includes free access to QuickBooks Tax, QuickBooks Payroll to pay your team, as well as other exclusive discounts and much more. So to learn more, head to intuit.me/pro-perks. And we'll also be sending out more information after the webinar for you to review. So a very quick plug here. We've just launched a new ebook as well as a new site to help you build a more efficient practice. Now, in this particular ebook, you'll hear from me as well as the head of accounting, Shay Thayer, on the top 5 tips for building a more efficient firm. We share our experience on how you can find additional capacity so that you can free up time to do more work or to enjoy more time with family or whatever you want to do with that time. The 5 steps that we cover off are building a proactive, visible plan for your workload, standardizing your BAS processes, getting tax work efficiencies from your system regardless of the accounting solution that your clients are using. We look at automating manual processes as well as earning fees, not chasing them. So you can download the ebook. It's free to download from our efficiency hub. And you can find that at intuit.me/smart hub, where you'll also find other ebooks, videos and tips to get some time back in your day. Okay. So we're now going to welcome back Zach along with Sapan from our customer success team and get into some of the questions that you have been asking through the course of today's session. So I'm going to start with a payroll one because we have received a few questions relating to some changes made to payroll. And Sapan, I'm going to come to you with the first question. And the question we've got here is that we've had lots of questions regarding the validation error that has been happening in payroll due to some recent changes, being unable to lodge a pay event. So, Sapan, can you please update everyone on where we're at with that particular situation?
Sure, Megan. I'm glad that this came up. We've had a lot of feedback and insights around this, so it would be good to clear the air a little bit. The most recent change was due to data sharing between the ATO and Services Australia, and this was to ensure the data integrity is maintained on Service Australia's end. However, because of all the feedback we've been receiving that we've taken back to our payroll partners, KeepIt, they are still working with the ATO on this matter to get a much clearer updates on if this is a permanent change that they need to keep, or is there's more to it where there could be a levi or a workaround that can be provided. There was also talks about, so what do we do now? How do we lodge events? So to be able to lodge a pay event, we just need to make sure and that there's no validation errors, is to make sure the pay date has to be on or after the finalization date of the pay run. In saying that, if it is not possible to edit the pay run or update the pay date, there is an option or a workaround of lodging an update event, which is completely valid. It just means it skips that pay run. However, the gross income is still reported to the ATO and recorded in the system as per the requirement. If there's still further concerns or feedback, I would encourage everyone to get in contact with our support team and leave those feedbacks and comments so we can document and share it with everyone who's involved in this decision.
Yeah, thanks, Pan. It sounds like a little bit of a hot issue at the moment. So again, get your feedback into us, guys, so that we can feed that back to not only KeyPay, but also the ATO. Okay, the next one, Zach, I'm bringing you up to the plate here.
Yep.
A question we have from Suzanne. Where does the client find the requests that are sent to them? And in the example we looked at today was via Books Review.
Yep, that's an excellent question, Suzanne. So when you send a document request to your client will actually receive an email. And if they click on the link on the email, they will be redirected to log into the QuickBooks, and they will be able to review the request that you sent. They can also find the request by logging into their QuickBooks Online account directly, and then clicking on the My Accountant tab on the left-hand side. Hope that helps.
Beautiful. Thank you, Zach. Okay, back to you, Sapan. Another one we've got here in relation to bank feeds. So we've had a few questions here relating to bank feeds, and the request here is what is QuickBooks recommendation around bank feeds? And I'm guessing that this is talking to what types of bank feeds are available.
Sure. So with QuickBooks, we offer two sort of bank feeds. One is your standard feed connection, which needs user credentials to be entered in order to be linked to the bank. The second type of bank feed we use is direct feed connection, which mainly utilizes CAF, which is the client authority form. It needs to be downloaded, hand-signed, and sent to our banking partner, SIS, who then basically process the form with the help of the bank. Intuit QuickBooks, we recommend setting up direct feeds whenever available. They are more secure, a lot quicker, and more stable. What happens from time to time, bank performs security updates during which the standard feed connection between QBO and bank is disrupted, which is actually a main cause of our missing transactions, which can be avoided by just jumping onto direct feeds. Again, there's heaps of help available, online articles. Our support team is completely aware of how to set up direct feeds and what banks are supported. Give them a go if you are facing any issues with that as well.
Great. And I might stay with you, Sapan, because there's a sort of a related question here in relation to Macquarie Bank. Has the bank feed connection with Macquarie Bank been fixed yet? So can you talk to that one?
Great question, Megan. Macquarie. So a few weeks ago, Macquarie Bank decided that they are not going to support our standard feed, or what we call in technical terms as screen scraping connection, which requires, as I was writing earlier, a username and a password to be entered in order to get the bank feeds from the bank. Macquarie Bank decided they're not going to do those connections anymore. And the only option to connect bank feeds to Macquarie is via direct feed, which is using a client authority form. Again, it's up to the bank to make that decision. We are more than happy to provide the direct feed if bank advises us to. And the connections are up and running. We had some teething issues, but they've been fixed, so it should be a seamless connection moving forward.
Brilliant. That's my bank, so I'm hoping we get that one solved. That sounds good. A direct feed is a great way to go. Okay, I'm coming back to you, Zach. We have here, hi, this is from Nathan. You mentioned being able to import data from other platforms into Lodgit. Do you know why Xero won't import?
Excellent question, and thank you, Nathan. Yeah, so definitely you would be able to import from Xero to Lodgit. One of the things that I can think of is to make sure that you click on the blue button when you're creating the client, and then Lodgit should direct you to go through the firm picker and pick out the client to import their data that way. Alternatively, you can use the financial tab after creating the client, and you should still be able to import that way. For more assistance, I would actually recommend you to reach out to Lodgit support by clicking on the support button in Lodgit on the bottom right-hand side. Hope that helps.
Brilliant. Thank you. Yes, it should absolutely be working. It's definitely in the pick list of items. And in fact, the Xero, we've got QuickBooks Online, Xero, and the MYOB live accounts or accounts live. Yeah, they have established a dynamic integration, which means that once the ledger is connected to Lodgit, you only have to hit the refresh button and the data just automatically comes through from those systems. For the other systems, and these are mainly desktop solutions, some of the MYOB ones, Reckon, for example, you can definitely import them, but you need to re-import anything changes if anything changes in the ledger. So definitely make contact with the Lodgit support team to work that one out, Nathan, because it should definitely be working. I'm going to ask myself a question, one here. In Books Review, do you need to mark everything as done to lodge the BAS? So no, you don't. The demonstration I was showing you where you're marking everything is done, that's just a visual prompt so that anyone in your team can actually see what has been done, what's been waiting to be done, and what's to be done. So it doesn't stop in any way your ability to lodge a BAS or do any of the work you would normally do. It's just, again, to help with your workflow so everyone in the practice knows where that particular BAS is up to. Okay, so I think with that, I'm going to have to wrap this up because I've just noticed the time and we love having a chat, but I think I better call it a day. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd really love to thank Zach and Sapan for helping us out on today's session. Love to thank you all for taking time out and joining us today. I really hope you've picked up something new to try, and we look forward to sharing an hour of power with you again very soon. So until then, bye for now.